we got in our van and we drove back to Oklahoma. Like, it was such a polarized, like, bittersweet moment. We had just made this record, but because there was now some buzz and some major label attention, we were going to sit on it for a while. And like, I quit school, man. Like, I quit school, I quit my jobs. You know, Tyson didn't have plans after high school. We had a record deal, but we went home and we fucking sat there for 6 months. It was wild.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Record Process. Being that we're at track 6 of season 5, we knew we had to have someone special come in before we flipped this record over and started side B. And we found that guest residing in Nashville. This week, we sat down with producer, songwriter, and founding member of the band All American Rejects, Mr. Nick Wheeler. We discussed the band's self-titled debut record that changed their lives overnight. Nick talks about jamming with the band's vocalist Tyson Ritter in high school, what it was like recording his vocals for the first time, and we discussed the adaptability that was needed to create a full band sound with just the two of them on those early recordings. Nick shares with us his experience of going from a $75 a month flat to touring the world and even being schmoozed by big-time labels. We talk about the process of working with producer Tim O'Hare on the record, the guitars, and all the fun vintage gear that was used. And Nick even reveals which instrument was the most difficult for them to track on the album. And it's all coming up right after this. The task of making a great album is rarely a solo endeavor, and companies like Audio Movers help empower musicians and creators by streamlining their workflow together and enabling them to make more efficient and informed creative choices. Famous for their groundbreaking collaborative plugin tool, Listen To, Audio Movers have made it possible to stream audio files in real time directly from your DAW to anyone, anywhere in the world. And recently, Audio Movers have expanded their dynamic plugin suite with Inject, an impressive audio routing solution that allows users to route audio in and out of any channel in your DAW. And alongside Inject stands the newly updated Omnibus 2.0, a software application that turns your Mac into a virtual patch bay, making it possible to route audio between applications and hardware seamlessly. And you can get 25% off Inject and Omnibus right now by heading to audiomovers.com and entering the code RECORDPRO at checkout. With over 1 million plus artists already relying on DistroKid to get their music into Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, Instagram, and all the major streaming platforms, you may have heard of it before. But if you're not yet familiar with just how easy DistroKid makes unlimited uploads and retaining 100% of your artist royalties and earnings, now is the time to finally see for yourself. And that's because they've just supercharged the functionality of their platform with the recent release of their new iOS app. The app allows you to upload new releases, check your streaming stats from Spotify and Apple, edit release metadata, and you can even set push notifications that will alert you every time you've earned royalties that you can withdraw right from the app. In addition to getting your music uploaded to DSPs faster than any competitor, DistroKid also has a ton of great promotional tools that can help you market your music better. You can view and share hyperfollow links and allow fans to pre-save your songs in advance, get the credits and lyrics for your songs instantly uploaded, and you can do all this for just $22.99 a year. So head to the App Store and download the DistroKid app for free now. Nick Wheeler, songwriter, guitar, multi-instrumentalist, and founding member of that good old band, the All American Rejects.
Hello.
Welcome to The Record Process. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
Tom and I already know that because we've been shooting the shit here for a cool 10 minutes about our lust of caffeinated beverages.
Yes, sir.
And so Nick is already on our good side and already feels like a part of the Record Process family for many reasons.
Oh, shucks.
But we thought it fitting that maybe it would be cool and timely as last year, the first Rejects LP had a little bit of a special birthday. Time, it does fly.
It does.
Like that. It's crazy, man. And so we thought it would be maybe cool to have you come in and take a stroll back through that process, through making that record, what it was like, where you did it, all that good fun stuff.
Yeah.
How's that sound to you, Nick?
Sounds great. This October, LP1, the self-titled All-American Rejects record, is of legal drinking age. So,
wow.
Dude, there we go.
It is fitting to talk all things LP1.
We'll make sure to send it some spirits, and a nice custom flask. Deanna, make a note of that. We're gonna get flasks made, and quantity of one.
And I turned 21 while touring this record, so full circle.
Full circle.
Oh, shit! I just gave away my age. God damn it.
Nobody do math. Stop the calculations now. Stop it. No, luckily, hopefully, we hope we don't have a math crowd here, but there are some musicians and music makers. So it means
there's a
some
whole
of them
genre case.
Yeah, some of them probably have that side of their brain heavily activated. So we can't help that.
Actually, I'm kind of glad I gave my age away because people would probably assume I'm older, but we were 17 and 19 when we made that first record.
Dude, I was looking this up. You guys met in high school, right?
We did. I mean, our hometown, Tyson and I grew up in a town called Stillwater, Oklahoma, 30,000 people. It is a college town, but like the college is kind of keeps to itself and vice versa. But thanks to the college, we have things like, Walmart and Sonic, but
the staples.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably a Subway, maybe in the Walmart.
McDonald's in the Walmart, but Subway in the gas station.
There it is.
Of course.
There it is.
But that being said, we were in school together our entire lives. He's 2 years younger than me, so we weren't really at the same school until we were both in high school.
Mm.
Got it.
I was a senior, he was a sophomore, but we'd met a couple years before that because I was in a band playing drums and we needed a bass player. Everybody plays guitar, and he did too a little bit, but we needed a bass player, and so he picked up a bass, and I remember working with him a little bit, showing him the songs, and then we were the rhythm section. That was it.
Yeah.
And, I was recording the various bands that we were in, and then high school happened, and other guys just lost interest, stopped showing up to practice. And then before you know it, it was just the rhythm section at band practice. And that's pretty boring, just drums and bass. So
I don't know. There are entire genres predicated upon just that.
I will say I would go see the Chili Peppers, even if it was just the drummer and the bass player.
I think that's why most people
go see the Chili Peppers.
Go sit through a Red Hot Chili Peppers set. If I don't know, I haven't been in a while.
Not comparing ourselves, of course, but it was just the two of us. Found out he could sing because, randomly one day the bass player showed up and said, "Hey guys, I wrote a song." And we're like, "All right, bro, sure." But no, the song was great. He hopped in my closet to lay the vocals down, and it was fucking amazing. He sang way better than the other guy. So he just started singing more of the songs. And then me and him just kept writing. Like I said, I was drumming at the time, but I'd been playing guitar longer. Like I said, there was just a surplus of guitar players. And if you wanted to be in a band.
Yeah. No, it's like my high school band director would always say, if you want to make state band, just, learn oboe or
Totally.
bassoon.
Totally.
There's there's not as many bassoon players as there are trumpet players.
But yeah, just what you said. It's, I wanted to be in bands. Everybody played guitar. I was like, fuck, I guess I better learn to play something else. So, I played percussion in a school band. So I was like, I guess I'll learn how to play a drum kit. Actually, I fished that drum kit out of the dumpster behind the high school. It was like a 1970s Ludwig Vistalite kit. They had just fucking tossed in the garbage.
Great.
Yeah.
Good find.
Yeah.
Great find.
But anyway, he and I just kept writing songs, and he would play bass and sing on them. I would play the drums and play the guitars, and that's it. We would, burn them onto a CD or onto a tape. I forget what the technology was at that point. It was sometime in the late 1900s. So, and then, I'd go down to the Kinko's and use the paper cutter to, cut out the inserts that I printed on, printed at home. Yeah, real old school DIY bullshit.
I love that, dude. I mean, everybody needs their own dose of that DIY bullshit. I think it builds character, and it helps you maybe even then, many albums later and, decades later, even appreciate where it kind of all started, which is a little bit of this. So that's, because that you're kind of getting into that where you build that dynamic of it's more or less like the two of y'all, at least initially, kind of like kicking around song ideas. Sure. Was it like, what were some of the so you mentioned like him coming in and like, okay, here comes a bass player with a song, and it's like, oh, he's got pipes. Yeah. Okay.
I don't think that song ever made the record. That was
okay.
That was kind of a different band at the time.
Yeah.
But by the time we got the name, the All American Rejects, we already had a couple songs that ended up on that first record. One More Sad Song, Don't Leave Me, and Drive Away, maybe? There were a few songs that did end up making that record. And the ones that just he and I recorded by ourselves were on a 5-song demo that, we would sell at shows for like $5 or whatever. And we also stuffed in padded envelopes, and I just copied the addresses of record labels from the backs of my own CD collection. Just sent unsolicited demos to all these labels. And believe it or not, one of them actually listened to it, Doghouse Records. I sent one to Doghouse because I had a bunch of Get Up Kids CDs. And they listened to it and just like out of the blue hit us up. Hey, can we come see a show? So they flew down to Tulsa and we're like, yeah, cool, let's do this. We're like, what? Like right here at this old spaghetti factory? Okay, sure.
Right now? Yeah. Did you have a show booked, or did you have that lovely scramble of, oh shit, somebody responded, we got to book a show now?
No, Oklahoma was a lot different. In Stillwater, there was no music scene in our hometown. We were doing this to get out of our hometown. We weren't doing this to try to be in any part of a scene.
Yeah.
It was the anti-scene. So we had to go to Oklahoma City and Tulsa a lot to play shows. But even then, there was just a couple clubs that we could be regulars at. And we did have a show booked at Curly's in Tulsa. I don't think it exists anymore. It's in the part of Tulsa that, like we were talking about with the Virginia Highlands and Atlanta or East Nashville, you wouldn't recognize it now. Like it was tumbleweeds back then. And of course, now it's where all the hipsters hang out. But, we played lots of shows there. We played with Bowling for Soup there. I remember going to see Jimmy Eat World there back in the day. It was a legit venue, just a fucking warehouse though. But we did have a show booked. By then we had, at least enough of a following to where maybe there was a couple hundred people there, maybe. I don't know. We were probably playing with somebody else too, so I can't take credit for all of those people. But
hey, that's a pretty good picture you're painting for a couple hundred people in Tulsa. Let me tell you, that does not sound like an easy feat.
Well, I tell you what, I'm trying to remember who was playing drums for us at the time, because we were still just a 2-piece, and there were some occasions like over the summer, a buddy of mine from back home came out and played drums so we could go on tour for a couple weeks, and play bars around the region. But honestly, a lot of the shows we were playing back then was just me playing guitar, Tyson singing and playing bass, and then we had a Korg Triton playing all of the drums. Yeah, so it was which nowadays isn't that out of the ordinary, but back then that's fucking weird for a rock band to show up like that.
Totally. Now this is an interesting thing, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but like kind of the like studio minded like producer brain in me that has just been listening back to this record recently to get ready for this combo. Would that have anything to do potentially with the fact that there are some programmed appearances?
Oh, absolutely.
In some of the productions. Okay, absolutely. Interesting. Because I didn't know that, but that makes perfect sense. Why you guys would know what that kind of arrangement would sound like and know that you'd like it. Interesting.
It wasn't the sole purpose. I think we were pop punk kids, but we kind of got tired of playing in those kinds of bands. Yeah. So we were trying to just, I don't know, add some more pop elements in there, add some more pop rock elements in there, and, mixing in, like those drum machines and, synthesizer parts and stuff like that. Like it just, I don't know, it made for a bigger sound, and we had the technology to do that. Thanks to my Korg Triton, the one toy that served us very well for like 3 records. But yeah, and again, like I said, like we wanted to get the fuck out of that town, so like we were trying to make the biggest, most pop sensible sounding songs and recordings that we could.
with that 5-song demo that you sent out, when was like the moment that you were like, you know what, let's fucking send it? Like, this is great. Like,
I don't know. I just like, I mean, I was in college for a hot second. You know, we like I said, we'd been through different incarnations of the band. I do remember the day that Tyson called me and was like, "Hey, so like, do you like want to do this for real?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'll fucking quit school today." And he's like, we're like, "Okay, cool. Let's do this." So I remember I just stopped going to class and we just full time just wrote song. You know, he was still in high school, so he had to go to class, but you know, I was teaching guitar lessons. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to teach guitar lessons all day now, not just after school. And then around 3:00, I'll come home, Tyson will come over and we'll write songs and record them. And then that led to, what do we do with these recordings? We, you know, make physical copies of them to sell at our shows. And of course we send them to labels. Like, there was no hesitation there. It was just, it just felt like what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like at that point too, you're, you know, whatever you're making, you're excited about, right? And it's
absolutely.
It's the best iteration of whatever it is at the time.
And every song we wrote was the best song we'd ever written, you know,
right?
And it was the best recording I'd ever made, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course we couldn't wait to get those out there. And plus, like, back then, this was, you know, early days of the internet, definitely before MySpace or anything like that. So if anybody was going to hear this, it had to be a physical copy, either purchased or given away at our shows, or, you know, showing up on somebody's desk and hopefully not going straight into the trash.
Yeah. Or maybe like called, like labeled under a different name on like Napster or Kazam's early day. Yeah. It's like you sneak those in there.
Yep. Exactly.
So why is Metallica? What's Swing by Metallica?
The other Metallica songs sound like, I don't understand. But so someone at Doghouse, like that kind of that fairy tale story, like listens to, you know, actually like listens to it, gives it a beat, and they're in their game, right? So then what happens next? You have a label.
Right. Well, you know, we're eager and we're young and we're ready to get started. However, they signed us when we only had 5 or 6 songs to our name. And, you know, we were going to make a record. This isn't like, all right, let's like tease out a couple singles, maybe do an EP. Like, this is like, you know, back in the day where when you get a record deal, first thing you do is you go make a record. We didn't have enough songs for that. So that was the summer of, I guess the summer of 2001, maybe. Yeah, that's right. Because the winter or the fall semester of 2001 was Tyson's last semester of high school. He graduated early so we could go make the first record. But it was that semester that it was that schedule. Like I told you, I would wake up and start tinkering with ideas, or just with the recordings. And then Tyson would show up at the end of, you know, after school, and we would continue to write songs, maybe, you know, record his vocals and his bass on some songs. And we just did that every day for the rest of that year. And we cranked out 5 more songs, and we're like, all right, cool. We have enough songs to make a record. Only had 11 songs to our name. Put those on the first record, and that was it. And then out of those sessions came, you know, Swing Swing, the last song, My Paper Heart, Time Stands Still, you know, I guess the more heavy hitters on the record. So it was a productive semester.
Some heavy hitters indeed. Yeah, it sounds like I'd say that one semester kind of blew the whole thing open for y'all in a big way. You really hunkered down and got to work there.
Yeah.
So then you get to the point where you have enough songs. Did the label, they had obviously heard the tracks that you had recorded and captured of the band previously. What was the conversation like at that point? Did they say, hey, here you go, here are the keys, you know, go track them down? Or did they want you to like go to did they have studios in mind? Labels often have their own kind of, you know, vision for, oh, this would be the perfect studio to do that out.
Sure.
Or, you know, this would be the perfect guy, you know, to come in and craft and mold these. What was the conversation like?
Although the record just ended up being better versions of the demos we already had, not to take anything away from Tim O'Hare, who produced it. You know, we We had a great experience, and I think the record sounds great for the resources that were available. But like, I guess the demos were decent. They were good enough. I guess.
Yeah.
A bunch of them have been released over the years as B-sides or overseas. But yeah, we wanted to go make a record, and we wanted to record these songs in a real studio, et cetera. And of course, I remember making like a dream list of like the producers that I wanted us to work with, but the budget was like $10,000. So the majority of that list was unreachable. But there were a couple that Dirk and Emily over at Doghouse suggested, one of whom was Tim O'Hare. The other was, I'm going to butcher their names, Paul Coldery, and Stephen Slade, maybe. They're the guys. I think they did the first Radiohead record. They did some Mighty Mighty Boss Tone shit, which they did Impression That I Get, which I fucking love that song.
Which that was doing okay back in that time.
Yeah.
Nick, did that leave an impression?
Oh, stop. No. Tom, get another yerba. Oh, good Lord. Good.
That's
Lord.
that yerba mate kicking in. Yeah.
Can't pod with this guy anywhere. Oh, no.
But I don't remember if we talked to all of those guys, but we definitely talked to Tim, and we hit it off. And he's just a great energy and a great, I don't know, we vibed really well with him. And like, yeah, let's just go do this. This is going to be great. So he was in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, which again, Williamsburg in 2002 isn't the Williamsburg we know today, or the, we kind of kept doing that. We kept hitting these areas way too early, and we never got to actually like experience what everybody raves about. But we slept on his floor for 2 months, and we made the first part of the record at Mission Sound in Brooklyn, and like the rhythm tracks. That's where I'll get into all that here in a little bit. Essentially, we just got in our van. It was after Christmas. We took we just asked for money for Christmas that year. Just give us cash. Yep. We're driving to New York to make a record. So I think we had like $600. We drove to New York in our band van, which was a 1993 GMC something or other.
What color was it?
It was white with a big gray stripe down the side.
You got the stripe?
Yeah.
Nice.
And yeah, we rolled up to Tim's loft, and that was where we planted ourselves for the next 2 months. Spent New Year's Eve in New York City. I remember that. That was wild. I mean, shit, we're from Oklahoma, and yeah, we'd toured some regionally, but like I hadn't been further than Kansas City like in my life.
This is your first time in New York?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we took 1 day off a week during the making of the record, and we would do things, we would do the touristy shit. We went to Statue of Liberty. We went to Times Square. I spent a lot of time at that Virgin Megastore in Times Square. I think now it's a fucking Forever 21 or some shit, but
yeah,
I would go buy records. I would ride the subway, listening to my Discman. It's great.
Amazing.
Honestly, the Discman, they're back, according to my 13-year-old, I guess, cousin-in-law, who insists on digesting music only on CD now.
Like it was meant to be heard.
Yeah, I truly. And I was just like, I'm like, oh, you're awesome. You're so cool.
That's what?
Walmart sells these.
What is that?
And you can mod them. I have it CV modded. So you can, it's great. But anyway, Walmart sells these for like $20.
Sick.
Tom, tell our people that are listening in podcast format.
Yeah, right.
What you're putting up to the camera here.
It is by Moth Hunter Mods. It's great. It's a CV controlled cassette tape player. So
it's a Walkman, basically.
Walkman.
It's a pink modded Walkman.
Hell yeah.
Sweet mods on the Walkman. That's great. So you're doing the whole New York thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's all very exciting. And then you come back home and sleep on the floor of a loft like a true punk.
Oh, yeah. It was a nice loft, though.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Not like the kind of bed buggy loft that.
No, I mean the building was just a bare, concrete floors and just drywall. But he'd done the place up nice. It was a very, very, very cush for us.
Oh, good.
At 17 and 19, first time in New York City. Like, yeah, it was
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
No, that's
it was
good
nice.
because we've heard some horror stories of, sleeping accommodations and stuff for other records over the years from on this show as well. But
We had it rough for the next record when we lived in the Virginia Highlands. That
Mm.
Highland Inn was only $30 a night back then, and that was overpriced
Ooh.
for what.
listen,
we were.
I'll tell you what, that's like when we went out to do our first record with Steve Evitz in Garden Grove, and he said, whatever you do, we were looking at hotels and like, we're like, should we just do a hotel, an Airbnb? We're like, Steve, how about the Garden Grove? He's like, honestly, literally anywhere but the Garden Grove Inn. Trust me on this. And within like a week of being there, we were like, oh, I understand why you're saying that, because there would be like cops in the parking lot every time we left the studio and passed it to go back home. We're like, yeah, that's a good call,
Yeah.
Steve. And he's just saying, yeah, so yeah, that's good. Sometimes those, well, so you came around to it. You had an experience on the next record, but this one was good.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And, so and you were excited. You turned out the songs. What do you remember about where, so it's like, it sounds like they, maybe the songs didn't change too much, but what was the experience working with someone like Tim, actually? Because I remember I was just telling Tom, I was like, oh shit, Tim did this record. I was like, I think we talked to him like a decade or two ago about doing maybe even like Greatest Generation, which is a record that just turned 10 this year.
Oh, congrats.
And I was like, oh shit, I remember like we all did essays, and I was like, shit. Like, I remember like making the rounds. I was like, I remember had like a nice combo, like, but I think by that time he was like down in Texas or something when this happened. So this was, probably 10 years after
Gotcha.
This record or whatever. But interesting. So what was that process? So I never got to work with him. What was that like for you guys? How did he treat the songs and capture them?
This was literally the beginning of our career, so I have the most vivid memories of this time, I think.
Awesome.
And also, in the next record, I'm still with it, so I got memories of a lot of things.
Well, we're preserving them here for you for when you don't.
Right, totally. This was all our firsts, you know what I mean? And as you tour more and play the same venues over and over, and have experiences that just become all kind of blur together, you kind of stop making memories. This is like it was last week. I can remember a lot of it. Great experience. Tim was awesome. I mean, he was so like nurturing, not only to us as musicians and as a band, but his thing, and I've heard that he does this a lot, is we would take a break, like a dinner break every night, and he would actually like cook us dinner. Just probably because the rest of the day we were kind of left to our own devices. We ate a lot of tofu dogs and just, the cheapest shit you can imagine.
Yeah.
But he, he was fantastic. He opened his home to us. He cooked us dinner all the time. And, we got to make a record on a sick vintage Neve console. We recorded all the drums, bass, and rhythm guitars to tape. I remember going to Sam Ash in Midtown and actually buying reels of tape. Like, it was
Oh, wow.
Like it was the fucking 70s. I don't know. But yeah, it was wild, and the experience was great. I remember Mission Sound, where we recorded the basic tracks, is actually, I think, is definitely still operational. And I think it's kind of a big deal. It was still in the early days when we were there, but there was a vintage Mellotron there that I played on, I think, the bridge of Don't Leave Me. Just all kinds of just cool toys and resources. And yeah, I mean, I think we slept there sometimes. Like, we never wanted to leave. It was a blast. And then when Tim was mixing the record, we went back to Mission Sound and we hung out all day. Like, we didn't want to go, fuck off and then just come back and listen to a mix. We hung out in the lounge, like trying to see if we could hear what he was doing in there.
Yeah, you care. So, I mean, not that not that you stop caring as you go on, but you're right. It changes a little bit. You've been there for the first, like, what the person's going to do. It's like, it's not as interesting. You're like, okay, he's setting up this mix. I'll come back in, 5 minutes. But like, I totally get that. It's like, there's this excitement of like, wait, I only hear that kick drum. Like, does he hear? What's he doing with it? And it's so precious too. It's like when you have a record before it goes out, it's just yours. It's just the band's. You can live it and love it. Right. And it's kind of like the precursor to that, right? Is you're just like, oh my God, I think there's maybe sometimes that little extra bit of like, this is, all that trust that you put into someone else, you're like, this is where you find out if it really is going to work or not. You know what I mean?
Totally. That time also was when Tim really did shine, because all of those little production effects that you hear, like the reverse snare roll on Time Stands Still, or even the radio, him tuning the radio at the beginning of the last song, he did all of that during the mixing process. So that's the rest of it. He just had to hit record and make it sound good and punch in and out on a tape machine, which is very difficult. But yeah, the mixing process was really when it came to life, and he got to, get under the hood and have fun with it. And that's kind of what we wanted to see. But, like I said, we were secluded in the lounge, not allowed to come in until he felt okay to show it to us.
Yeah.
Was there anything that during this process in particular that like changed completely from like the initial demo to like even during tracking, if you like tracked it down, but he was like, wait, hold on, I got an idea, and like flip something?
Not really. All of the programming that I did on the Korg Triton for the demos just got dumped into the Pro Tools sessions that became the record. Yes, some tones probably changed a little bit. Back home, I only had the one amplifier that every single guitar got put through, and maybe I had a distortion pedal, that I used back home. But here he introduced us to Mesa Boogie single rectifiers, because they're just 50 watts and they break up a lot cooler. Marshall 800s. Our music store in our hometown didn't even carry this stuff, so it's pretty new to us.
Well, what was the one amp that everything on like those initial demo recordings was going through? What was your one?
It was probably some sort of Fender combo. That's what the music store in my hometown carried a lot of, was combo amps that you would never see like a 4x12 or like a 100-watt Marshall in there. It was mostly Fender combos, stuff that kids would learn to play on, or people would play out at bars, because like I said, it was a college town. There were a lot of cover bands, so
big cover bands world.
And it wasn't like a cool combo. It wasn't like a Fender Deluxe or something. It was like probably had some like I don't know. It probably had like built-in effects, or like you know what I mean, like basically totally. like a line 6.
Whatever Fender was doing, like pre-line 6 Spider.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. And so it's interesting that we talk about this somewhat frequently. We're huge proponents from like a production and even writing and composition philosophy that like, don't be afraid if something's really working, even if it's from a demo, don't be afraid to just be like, yep, that's it, and use it and pull it. And so I love that you mentioned with the Triton, like some of those were just like the initial instinct is like, yeah, why would we try to go redo this? Like, this is just working.
Right. All the drum loops were from the demos, essentially. Like I said, the guitar tones were better, and there were opportunities for us to, kind of punch up the keyboard stuff. So, like I said on the bridge of "Don't Leave Me," it's like, you know what? This kind of sounds like a Mellotron. We have a real fucking Mellotron from the 1960s. Let's use that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But like all those strings on the last song, like that was all my Korg Triton. I think Tim added a cello line in the build up towards the last chorus. But I mean, yeah, for the most part, I mean, I remember I even took my first acoustic guitar that I ever owned. I got it when I was like 7. That's the acoustic guitar on the record. Like it was, yeah.
Do you remember what kind it was?
I still have it. It's a Sigma, which was it's kind of like the Squire of Martin. I don't know if it's still even a thing, but it's, it's like the cheap version of a Martin. So it's just like a standard dreadnought, looks like a J45 kind of body. It's been gutted, and I added a pickup to it because it was my only acoustic and I would play it live sometimes. It's definitely not in the same shape anymore, but I still have it. It's in the closet.
Oh, that's awesome. So when you were doing all of that, right, you were pulling some of those old things in and then making choices of what you kind of wanted to supplement from a recording standpoint. How did the tracking go and the capturing? You mentioned doing, I think, at least some of it to tape.
Mm-hmm. It was very, very traditional in the way that we tracked it, which I guess by that I mean we started with drums. And it was just an empty reel of tape that he loaded up. I don't even remember if there was a printed click track or if I played the drum parts to like my Tama rhythm watch. I think I might have just done that. I think I just had a little metronome and some headphones in the live room. But yeah, I mean, you know, Tim is a jack of all trades, so he was producing, engineering, basically like running the tape machine. He tuned the drums, you know, he even teched the guitars, you know, taught us things like how you change your strings one string at a time so that you're not like totally distressing your guitar with a lot of tension, then all of a sudden no tension whatsoever. Like little things like that, and like what pick gauge that we should be using for like the best recordings. Like all of those like just common sense things to me now. Like a lot of them I learned from him. And
dude, and I'll tell you what, I'll just put a pin in both of those, because those are some of the things that you'd be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't, how they can escape even very seasoned people that have done a lot of recordings and whatever. And those were like, again, like the first guy that ever like kind of brought those things to our attention for us as a band was Steve Evitz, and like learning how it's like, those subtleties that really change and then unlock this is why I can never get my guitar to sound in tune.
Yep.
Or,
and this
is, you know,
totally. Yeah. And it's because of that I, to this day, will use, Intune is the guitar pick company I use, but it's the equivalent of the yellow Tortex and Fender medium guitar picks. And
I'm a green guy, even though this is
you're
pink.
A green guy. Oh, that's a little heavier, right?
It's a little heavier. It's suspicious, but we've gone down tune, you know.
So there you go.
I need a little extra oomph to get through and to get through those 56 gauges.
And you know, I showed up with 9-gauge strings because that's what I heard that Billy Corgan used, and he's like, fuck that, like. You want to use 11s. And I'm like, whoa, shit. Okay. Like the music, I guess, again, music store in my hometown didn't even carry them.
Didn't carry 11. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went and got some 11s, and it sounded better. It sounded heavier. It sounded chunkier, and it didn't go out of tune so much.
Totally.
Well, honestly, that was the other reason where it's like, there's 3 fucking guitar players in my band, trying to keep any semblance of intonation across those. We were just like,
put a chorus pedal on the mix.
You guys,
same thing.
Yeah, well, that's kind. Yeah, I mean, that's a conversation for another day. I mean, that's effectively where you get kind of those lessons, and it's interesting too, I guess, going into this, because then so you kind of did one at a time, right? Traditional, like build from the bottom.
Yep, everything was overdubbed. I played the drums first. I think we did some rhythm guitars next, just so we kind of knew what the songs were, so we could build the bass tone around that. So yeah, threw in some rhythm guitars. I used Tim's Les Paul Jr. a lot. I used his Mexican Telly that I ended up buying off of him and taking on the road.
Love that.
Sick.
And actually, I just got it out the other day. It was in bad shape, but my tech helped me bring it back to life. But he did have a Les Paul, like a flame top, or maybe actually no, it was a gold top. I remember the pictures now. Yeah, gold top Les Paul. And between those 3 guitars and my Sigma acoustic that I brought from home, that was pretty much it. I might have brought my Strat. I had a cheap, it wasn't American. It was a cheap Strat that I bought for high school graduation for like $250. Surf green, because I was, it was 1999. That's what you did. And I think because Your Star has like a dive bomb guitar solo, so that would have been that guitar. But yeah, laid down some rhythm guitars. Ty played bass, and like I said, all that stuff went to tape. So the performances had to be, pretty spot on. I don't think I got to see him actually cut tape. I think we were, I'm not a great drummer, but I feel like I have good enough time to where there wasn't really editing involved. Tim did say that I don't hit the snare like a drummer. He said I hit the snare like a dickhead, but he didn't use those words, but
there's so many things that could mean.
He didn't use those words, but I definitely don't hit like a drummer. I hit like a I'm playing it like I'm playing a drum machine, essentially. So I don't know if there's a lot of editing needed, but all those stories you hear about people slicing tape or splicing tape and putting it back together, like it sounds terrifying. We did see Eric Valentine do that some. I remember that on the third record.
I bet you did.
Oh yeah. A lot. We made that whole record to tape. Everything went down to tape. But anyway, so it was rhythm tracks at Mission Sound to tape. And then after that first week or so, we moved out of Mission Sound and went to a much more cost-effective studio.
Right. Gotta squeeze the budget. Love it.
It was called Headgear. I don't know if it's still there. It was a fine space. It's probably about the size of the space I built here at my own house. But this spot was in a kickboxing gym, in the back of a kickboxing gym. We did have to record a lot at night because they would have kickboxing classes all day long. And the studio wasn't isolated good enough to keep all the grunting and screaming out of the microphones. So,
do you think any made it on to any last ditch? Do you think if we really scrubbed any of those in solo, we might hear something?
I don't know. I feel like we tried to avoid it at all costs. I do remember, we weren't pulling all nighters or anything, but I do remember a lot of recording after dark, and that was probably why we probably did the loud stuff, guitar overdubs and shit during the day. And I think they waited till after hours to do vocals. But yeah, we were at Headgear for several weeks doing overdubs, doing vocals. That stuff didn't go to tape. That went straight into Pro Tools, or as Tim called it, the Blow Tools. I've heard it called Slow Tools. This was 2002, so it still wasn't much.
People had a lot to say about it in that transitional period. They still do, to be completely fair. We're not sponsored by Avid. It's not flawless. We know this.
Right.
This we know. But I'm also looking up here, I guess, like the Yeah Yeah Yeahs did their debut album at Headgear. So I don't think it is around, but yeah. And recorded with TV on the radio.
Okay.
And so cool. So this was, at that
it was a cool space.
It was definitely a cool space. Yeah. It was a cool fucking space. No, that's awesome. Okay, cool. So, Cymbals Eat Guitars. It was a very cool space.
Yeah.
We definitely did not belong.
Hey, listen, honestly, because of the fact that the list here on Wikipedia is alphabetized, you guys are right at the top of that thing.
Oh shit, they claim us, huh?
They claim you. Yes, know? Here you are. You and Tim. Yeah, look at that. I love that, dude. That's great. Okay, so you a bunch of weeks there doing all the dubs and everything.
Yep, and that's the time that I really remember, like taking a dinner break, stopping by the bodega or a little market, picking up some like fresh produce so Tim could go cook us dinner, and then we'd go back to it. Work for a few more hours and then go sleep on the floor, wake up and do it again. Every morning, our coffee shop there was called Verve. It's no longer there, but it was there when we went through on tour in 2012. I remember going to Brooklyn and being like, wow, this place has changed, but Verve is still there.
Yeah.
And it was
sick.
It felt like a kind of like a 90s hangover, it was just into the 21st century. So the coffee shop was very what you would expect in the 90s. It felt like Friends, you know what I mean? Like oversized furniture, oversized mugs.
In Brooklyn, yes.
Brooklyn. And then it was next door to a Radio Shack type kiosk that the drummer from the Dance Hall Crashers owned and ran. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was... it was awesome. It was a great time to be there.
Time. Yeah. Honestly, I don't hate any of this.
It's definitely not the same. It's changed a little bit. Yeah.
No, but few things are. Yeah, especially when it comes to that. As music fans, we know that the records we love are more than just something we listen to, right? Over time, they become a part of us and a part of our identity, and nobody knows this better than the people at Rockabilia, the best online shop for band merch, hands down. For more than 30 years, Rockabilia has offered the largest selection of officially licensed music merchandise available around the world. They do it all, from authentic concert t-shirts to band hoodies and posters, and even accessories from your favorite iconic artists. They do hats, backpacks, bags, pins, belts, you name it, they have it, as well as exclusive access to limited edition designs that you can only get through them and the artists that they partner with. Maybe you missed the merch table at a recent show and you're looking to treat yourself. Maybe you're looking to treat somebody else in your life with a gift card. Or maybe you're looking to outfit the children in your life with some new gear. Whether they have 2 legs or 4, yes, they even have accessories for your pets. They have it all, so just head over to rockabilia.com or follow the link in our show notes, and for a limited time, all Record Process listeners can receive 10% off their order just by entering the code ROCKRECORD. That's all one word, ROCKRECORD, at checkout. So we are extremely proud to have the people at Oxford Pennant as an official sponsor of the Record Process again here on Season 5. And I'm here to tell you about their new pennant and flag customizer. It's real simple. All you have to do is head to oxfordpennant.com to make your own custom flag on demand. Simply type in your favorite phrase, inside joke, lyric, whatever you want, approve the preview, and Oxford will print, sew, and ship your flag straight to you from their beautiful headquarters in sunny Buffalo, New York. Creating and ordering your own custom flags from Oxford Pennant is actually so easy and affordable now that I'm concerned I'll have to start paying off my co-host Tom just to prevent him from putting every dumb thing I say this season on a flag. Seriously, I wouldn't put it past him. But with great power comes great responsibility, as we know, and that's exactly what Oxford Pennant is giving you here. All you have to do is head to oxfordpennant.com, search Customizer, and let the designing begin. When you finished up doing all the tracking, right? And I think it's also, before we kind of continue on with this, I think it's really interesting that it was you tracking to yourself in which is also kind of like I think an important thing to remember here, as I like, even saying like 3 guitar players, 3 very different style, like with my band, or sometimes that's also very typical. It's, multiple members and you're all kind of like, okay, everybody kind of sees the beat at a slightly different place, and it's the coming together of that. In this case, you kind of like, you don't have to like, it's probably intuitively easier for you to follow along tracking to yourself.
It is,
maybe,
and
right?
the guitar, the strumming pattern on the guitar probably matches up to what the kick and the snare are doing. Yes, while it does make everything a lot tighter, I think the part of the charm of that first record is that it does, a lot of people don't know that it's live drums on there, but it is. Yeah. It's just it's lifeless sounds like a mean word. Like but it's it doesn't have that that just living, breathing thing that like our next record has, because that was 4 of us playing together. A lot of that next record was recorded live, and then, we would probably go back and redo a lot of stuff. But, we set up in a tracking room, the 4 of us playing together. And this record was recorded completely as overdubs. Yeah.
Nick, did you have to put yourself in different headspaces for the different instruments? Like, I'm gonna play guitar now. I need preparatory, like I need to.
I mean, knowing me and my personality, yes, I think I was probably. There were probably a lot of nerves. I probably had to be like, "Oh fuck, I'm the drummer. Oh fuck, now I'm the guitar player." I was probably a lot more confident with the guitar playing, but then we would. I did the percussion stuff on there too. So like that was like, oh shit, nobody's ever recorded me playing a tambourine.
Tim let you do the tambo? Because that's not an easy feat. That maybe might be the most impressive of all of those feats, honestly.
It's not, and it was actually one of the harder things to do. I remember the song Happy Endings, which is like a fucking 160, 170 BPM or something. Just going chicka 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 chicka. I remember my hand was just fucking bruised.
Was that to tape?
That would have been to tape, yeah, because we did that at Mission, I remember.
Wow, honestly, that's a round of applause right there. Nobody knows. Yeah.
The next record, we actually brought in a legit professional percussionist, and we were like, give me a tambourine, I'll do it. No, there's like none of us have anything on Lenny Castro, who played on every other recording we ever did.
Dude, when you see somebody that's like actually a percussionist, it is the most mind-blowing thing in the studio.
It's wild
to watch them destroy something, and you're just like, in a million years, I could never edit something that like well-crafted that does what percussion is supposed to do to a track. Yep. Totally. It's wild.
Have you seen the video from? It was the recording of Spoon Man.
No,
with the Spoon Man actually doing the spoons. Nick,
Send this to me.
I'll find
I'll
it.
see you. I'll see you there in that video directly after this conversation, Tom.
It's crazy because like you think, oh yeah, he's a spoon player, whatever, and then he's like doing flips. He is rolling around. He's doing the spoons, and then you're like listening to it, and you're like, holy shit, that's the performance on the record.
He's lighting the spoons on fire.
I literally thought somebody just like dumped out a silverware drawer. Like it sounds like utter nonsense, but
it's utter nonsense.
Yeah.
Even after you see the video. But like there it is. He was in his element. Nice. But that
you did not have Spoon Man though. You had
no Spoon Man. You had yourself. So after y'all were done tracking, like, was Tim mixing at?
We went back to Mission to mix. I think he probably mixed it down to tape. He probably mixed down to half inch or whatever. I remember going back to Mission. That was the mixing stage where Tim was in the control room, getting to play and get his hands dirty and really put his magic into it. And then we were locked out and we just hung out in the lounge. And it was about this time that, Doghouse flew out a couple times to see how it was going. I think Tim knew that we were doing something special. I mean, we of course we thought it was like the best thing in the world because, we were getting to make a record and we were so excited about the tunes. We're like, yeah, this is awesome. I mean, we were making a record for an indie label for $10,000. So I think Tim and Dirk at Doghouse knew that like this could be bigger than that. So they were starting to put the feelers out to other managers, other labels, and people were stopping by to check out the tracks. We didn't know who they were. We were just, a couple kids from Oklahoma. And like, then here's all these, suits stopping by and, just wanting to hear stuff, telling us they liked it. And we were like, okay, cool. Like, we love it. Like, so stoked that you at least like it. And then, then it was done. I remember Emily Lazar at the Lodge mastered the record. And that was a great time. I remember she was so warm and welcoming and, we were so fucking young. Everybody, Tim and Emily both were really just trying to like mentor us through this process, I think.
Yeah.
Mastering a record takes one day. Like they work on a different record every single day. So we went there for the day.
Oh, you did an attended session with Emily?
We did.
Ooh, wow.
Cool.
I'm very jealous. She's done stuff for us and she is, a legend. Honestly, been trying feverishly. Would love to have her on the show sometime just to pick her brain on a record because
she's killing it. She just keeps getting better.
It's
funny though. We ended up having to recall the entire record because she spent the whole day like talking to us and like teaching and mentoring us. That like I guess we took her away from her work too much because I remember getting the record back and being like, yeah, we gotta do this again. But yeah, then the next time when we weren't there chewing her ear off and bothering her, she killed it. But
just crushed.
Yeah. But yeah, then after that it was done. I remember like I said, we went up there right after Christmas, and then about mid-February, maybe mid to late February, we got in our van and we drove back to Oklahoma. Like it was such a polarized, like bittersweet moment. We had just made this record, but because there was now some buzz and some major label attention, we were going to sit on it for a while. And like, I quit school, man. Like I quit school. I quit my jobs. Tyson didn't have plans after high school. We had a record deal, but we went home and we fucking sat there for 6 months. It was wild. And that's about the time where we were living in a 1-bedroom garage apartment together with our then tour manager. People rotated in and out, but at one time there were 4 of us living in 1-bedroom apartment.
Great.
Putting the time in. Yes.
Rent was $75, and I'm not talking $75 each. I'm talking about total.
What?
So, yes.
You had no utilities. There was one open wall. It actually was just 3 walls. They couldn't even get the 4th wall in there.
That's an extra 25.
It's more like an Adirondack situation.
There was a kitchen, a living room, a bedroom, and a bathroom, and there were 4 of us in there, 1 room for each of us. But yeah, and then we would, we just kept doing what we did before we got our record deal, which was we would go out on the weekends and play bars. And at this time, we had like a regional booking agent. I think she was based in Texas. So she got us, a lot of gigs in places like Pittsburgh, Kansas, and Lubbock, Texas, like places like that. But it just cost us gas. We would have played the shows for free, but we made just enough money to pay for gas and our $75 a month rent. And we were like, when can we put this fucking record out? Like we made, in our eyes, what is this masterpiece? Like the world needs to hear it, whatever. And we were just waiting to see what was going to happen, who was going to put it out. What ended up happening, actually also that summer, we got we're kind of one of the last bands, I feel like, to get the whole like major label, like courting experience.
Yeah. Flown
out to New York and LA every other weekend, any weekend that we weren't playing in fucking Amarillo, that is. And, they would take us out to these like really nice dinners. This is the first time I had sushi, the first time I had steak. Took it, one label even took us to a strip club and just gave us a bunch of fucking cash. Like this kind of shit doesn't happen anymore.
Nope. This is what they write about. And people thought that ended with Motley Crue. No, it went a little further, in gratuitous spending.
There was a lot of the 80s, happened in the 2000s.
Dinners, yeah.
It was a wild experience. So like I said, like just something so polarizing about having made this record, but then driving back to Oklahoma and then like living 4 of us to a 1-bedroom apartment, but then flying to LA and like eating at the Palm on the weekend. What the fuck is this? Like,
dude, yeah, it's like alternate reality.
Yeah,
almost.
It was.
You're like, which one are we actually living?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Which one is real life?
Right.
It was wild, man. And then, eventually, we put the record out on Doghouse in October. I remember it sold like 1,500 copies the first week. And I was like, holy shit, that's more records. Like I can't even imagine burning 1,500 CDs and cutting out 1,500 inserts at Kinko's. Like, this is crazy.
Yep. Thank God I had somebody else do it.
But by that time, I forget the exact timeline, but it was around that time that we had already planned to re-release it on DreamWorks the following spring.
Wow.
So we kind of kicked around. At least the record was out, and at least by this time, we had a booking agent, and we were like, we don't like where we live. Keep us on the road. Keep us out of this.
Things are not good at home.
Yeah. Keep us out of this apartment. So we left September of 2002, and we didn't come back for a year and a half. So
wow.
Yeah, man, it was, we still paid our dues, that we went on tour with a band called CKY. And they were not the most friendly people.
Some Philly guys.
Okay.
Up there now. Yeah.
Philly adjacent.
Delco.
Delco.
No,
that's like Westchester.
Yeah.
Anyway,
they didn't like us very much. They would go out to their merch table after the show and tell their fans not to buy our merch. They told their tour manager to take our per diems away so we couldn't eat. Things like that.
Oh no!
Did you show them pictures of the apartment or?
We were like, this is just like home. This is like you're making us feel like we're right at home.
We thrive in this.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen those guys since, I hope they're doing well, but they really wanted us to pay our dues. They ended up, they took everything away from us. So at the end of one of our shows, when they were on stage, I went in their dressing room and took a bunch of beer because like they stopped giving it to us. And then when they found out, their tour manager called us the next day. They're like, hey, you might not want to show up because I think your guitar player might die.
Holy.
I mean, Eagles fans did throw batteries at Santa Claus. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. That is unfortunate, though. I don't love those things, and I've always tried to stray away from those instances and just try to treat anybody you're sharing the road experience with respectfully.
I'm telling this story with I'm smiling through it. I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious. I thought it was a character building experience. The feud continued though. I remember we would, when we started playing bigger venues, we would write our names on the walls in the dressing rooms or in the bathrooms or whatever, as you do. And then they would come behind us and like write some shit underneath it and vice versa. Like I'd like to get in a room with them one of these days and like just like take the temperature of the room. Like, hey, how we all feeling now? Like,
yeah.
Oh man, maybe we'll get like a cage match follow-up.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great.
I don't know. I don't think my my blood pressure can handle that. That sounds like it could be very interesting or very stressful for maybe everybody involved. I don't know. But yes, but the point is you're smiling through it, right?
I am. I'm telling the story with a smile. I look back on that time. And the time of making the record, touring the record, living in that apartment, like all of it, like those were formative years. That was my college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm.
Real college wasn't for me. So I found my college experience and I got it over the course of the next few years. And then I think it was December of 2002. I mean, I say it felt like forever that we sat on this record, but like, we made it in January and February, and by September we were on the road consistently. And in December we made the video for Swing Swing.
You're off and running, yeah.
And I remember the following winter, January, February of 2003, we were opening for Homegrown, which again, like I played out that CD in my little 1987 Tercel in high school. Like I fucking love those guys, and we get to go out on tour with them and open for them. And that's when the video came out. That's when the song hit radio, and that's when everything, just changed. What felt like overnight. Yeah.
Wow. It really was like an interesting, like non-traditional college experience. You had drama, you had debauchery, right? Oh man, yeah.
The school of hard knocks.
Yep. Oh, and I should say we toured without cell phones in the beginning.
Whoa.
Wow. Well, that honestly might be a whole separate album or episode in and of itself.
Yeah. I think actually we got a Motorola flip phone for like, it was the band phone. It just got passed around if somebody had to like call home or something. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Honestly, and now that you say this, and I don't know why, because we probably started, this was like 2005, 2006 or whatever, but I have a very vague memory. I'm going to have to ask some of my dudes. I think we might have also had a band phone at one point, which is like, I was like, oh my God, I was like, yeah, that would have probably been the era where it was like band phone to then like singer's like sidekick. That was like that was then the transition. Wow. Weird. Interesting. It was a really interesting time because like bands like yours were kind of just like, you were getting the time of day from very large labels because it was like that like heyday where a song like Swing Swing, could go from like a seemingly like a bedroom demo and then still have some of that come out and be put forward into like a recording and then hit radio in the course of like a year and a half. It's really, really a remarkable story. And then, I mean, where do you go from there? You get the rest is kind of history. I mean, that wasn't the last record you made, right? You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's funny. I'm sitting here listening back to what you're saying. It's like, so we had 11 songs to our name when we made that first record. We went and recorded those songs. And then we were so excited for that record to come out that when we came home, it's not like we were writing more music. Like the record wasn't even out yet. Like, we had plenty of time to do that. Then we went on the road, and then, technology isn't what it is now. Like we couldn't really write and make demos on the road. I had a Dell desktop computer that I recorded all those demos on with a separate audio interface, separate MIDI interface, a fucking Korg Triton, which won't even fit in a normal size car. And, so it's like, okay, well, we'll write some more songs when we get home in a year and a half. And then that started, where we go from there is landing after this fucking whirlwind of literally when we left this town, we were all living in a 1-bedroom apartment. And then when we came back, we had 3 videos on MTV and, we'd been around the world. Like it was dizzying, to say the least. So we kind of had to get our bearings, get our, be like, all right, well now what? Like what do we do? I guess we make more music and we start back from square one, man. When we then when we ended up making Move Along, the next record, and going on tour, we got back in a van, it's kind of starting it all over.
Dude, so funny. Like at that point you're like, well, what do we do now? I guess we make more music. And then I just see like the freeze frame to be continued. And I was like, dude, that's a whole part 2 of Move Along. Like, which maybe, I don't know if you'll oblige us, maybe we can get into that down the line as well, because it was actually really tough. Even going back and forth being like, well, which record, it's like they all like, which is a great problem to have, of course. But even from our standpoint, I'm like, man, I feel like our audience and just in general, it's like there's very different stories behind both of these records, but they both are so important to the band in general.
We were really fortunate to where we got to work with a different producer and have a completely different experience every time we made a record. And while we did live in the time of the album cycle, which was, write a record, record a record, tour a record, repeat, every time we did that and went back to the beginning, it looked completely different.
Yeah.
We never wanted to repeat ourselves, and we never really put ourselves in a situation to do that either, because we were always working with a different producer or living somewhere else or writing in a different environment completely.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like we're going to have you back at some point. Unfortunately, I hope you enjoyed your experience and your time here, because there will be a follow-up request, it sounds like.
Sweet.
To get a completely different part 2 of this. I can't thank you enough, buddy, for stopping by. What an incredible story. I thoroughly enjoyed hearing it, and the pleasure's been all ours. But where can everybody, before you go too, depending on, this will probably come out right around, if we do our diligence and planning right around the time that y'all are going to probably be playing some of these songs out on the road this summer. So tell a little bit about that, and where everybody else can find stuff on that, and then on you, what you're doing with producing, songwriting, and anything else.
Yeah, I'm in Nashville. I've been here about 8 years. I just built a studio, Wheelhouse Studio Nashville, on Instagram, and on my website. I'm making records when I'm not playing with the band. But that's the big headline, is that we are doing a tour.
Yeah,
first tour in 6 years, first headlining tour in 11 years. So fucking wild. Wet Hot All American Summer starts August 11th in Florida, where it definitely will be wet and hot.
Love it.
And then we're going all over the U.S. through mid-October.
That's right. The ad alone is worth the price of admission.
And you know what? Full circle, because the Get Up Kids are opening the show, and
the lineup. Who else is on it? Because you have some other really choice acts on this. Yeah,
we're fucking stoked. All of these bands, if most of them we've played shows with or been on tours with, but not in a very long time. Newfound Glory is on the tour. They took us to Europe back in the late 2000s. That was a blast. Those are great guys. I probably haven't run into them since, so that's going to be amazing. Starting Line, we toured with them back in 2006. But again, this is, I ran into Kenny at When We Were Young, but other than that, I haven't seen those guys in forever too. So that'll be awesome.
Fellow Philly dudes, love it.
Oh hell yeah, that's right. Motion City Soundtrack. We've done tons of tours with those guys. Back in our van days, back in our bar band days, they took us out and showed us some clubs in the Upper Midwest. They, House of Blues. They took us to I think Indy, a Fireside Bowl in Chicago. They took us out on, and let us open a lot of shows for them. And, we got to return the favor, and we've been buds ever since. So that'll be great to take them out again. And then, like I said, the Get Up Kids, who I haven't seen them play live since I was in high school, and I saw them open up for Green Day on the Warning Tour.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm fucking pumped to see those guys every night.
That's sick.
Dude, I am Tom, mark your calendar, August 17th. Yeah. You get to see them in Philly. And then, and you're in Alpharetta on August 12th, if I'm around.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that'll be show number 2.
That'll be show 2.
Hopefully we've worked out the bugs by then.
The wheels will be good and greased by show 2, I'm sure. I always love that. No, that's awesome. And I'm looking at this here, obviously, at allamericanrejects.com. Go get that. That will be certainly the tour of my summer.
Awesome.
And I'm sure yours as well.
Hell yeah.
That'll be a good time. I wish you guys the best on that. That's awesome. And
thank you so much.
Nick, thank you so much for your time here and sharing the story behind that self-titled record, man.
Dude, it was my pleasure. Like I said, these are great memories. Even the trying times are fond memories, and it was a lot of fun to kind of go back and not just think about those to myself, but then like talk about them and be like, oh yeah, that shit really happened. Yeah. That's fucking wild.
Yeah. Well, and it's always captured here as a time capsule. If as we slowly get older and grayer, if it starts to do a number on the old noggin, you can come back and just relive all of it.
Can you burn me a CD so I can listen to it forever?
I'd happily burn you a CDRW of this. Yeah.
Oh no, just
not that rewritable shit. I don't want to I don't want to accidentally record over it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, I was going to say
that went over like half.
Nobody has any idea. Well, I was like, but we put the video on the RW.
Was that the distinction?
Okay. Maybe. I don't know. Honestly, it's been some time. But yes, thank you again, dude. We look forward to seeing you. Maybe we'll catch you out there this summer.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Nick was talking about how him and Tyson started jamming and playing at the end of high school, and then he spent some time in college, but ultimately Nick talked about taking a leap to do the thing that he wanted to do. And I think that's an important moment and an important recognition, that leap of faith moment, that you're willing to pursue your art, your work, your purpose at all costs. And I think that's an important question for any artist or creative to ask themselves. What does that look like for you as an artist, that leap of faith? Are you making bolder choices for yourself and your career? Maybe it's finally investing in yourself financially, or maybe it's letting go of that safety net that's actually been holding you back. And I realize the irony here that some of these questions might sound like they were pulled straight out of a college brochure. But the point of this introspection and the power of an exercise like this is to help you recognize the limiting beliefs that might be holding you back, and to help you identify who is going to bring the best out of you. And I think that's a really interesting question to go find the answer to. Nick found Tyson very early on. And I think it's important to find your creative carpool lane, and then find the passengers that make that ride fly by. And then find the type of work that consumes your day and keeps you up late into the night. And keep creating work until you make something that you can believe in 100%. So thank you again for taking a leap of faith with your time and tuning in once again right here on